90, right
Okay.
at 90%
Okay.
African American, and then next largest enrolled group would be Hispanic, and then white, and then Asian.
And where do you generally draw the student body from?
They come from all over. Primarily, they come out of the large metropolitan areas. You get quite a few that come out of Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio. That's where you get the bulk of the student body from, mostly from Houston. Then you start pulling them in from the surrounding smaller communities. And then we start getting students from out of state. A lot of them are legacies where their parents attended Prairie View, and they come from out of state. And then we pull in a group of international students.
Now, back in the, I think, the what, 70s and 80s, there was an initiative to force historically black colleges and universities to diversify their ethnic makeup. How did this movement impact the university?
Well, I think Prairie View weathered the storm well. Prairie View had admitted its first white students as early as 1964.
Hmm.
And so Prairie View really never discriminated
Okay.
against people coming to Prairie View. People by law didn't come, or they chose not to come. But Prairie View never said you cannot attend. So as early as 1964, we've had white students enrolled, most of them from the local area. So I think when the mandate came down, Prairie View was able to adapt pretty well. We haven't had any major incidents on campus with desegregation. And I think the atmosphere today is even more accommodating for those students that may not be of the same ethnicity as the majority of the students here.
Why do you think that while many other black colleges and universities have been forced to shut down or merge with other schools to survive, why do you think, how did Prairie View A&M manage to get through these tough periods?
I think it's been leadership. I think Prairie View has been very fortunate to have a real solid leadership at the helm over the years. Whether the majority of people agreed with their methodology or not, they've been able to help this university survive. And so if you look in the state's constitution, there are three universities of the first class in that constitution. There's Texas A&M, University of Texas, and Prairie View. There are only three. Now, they're I think, roughly about 37, maybe more now because they created some new universities. But say roughly 37 to 40 state-supported universities, but there are only three listed in the Constitution as universities of the first class, and that's Prairie View, Texas A&M, and the University of Texas. So our leadership, even beginning back with Dr. Avenai Thomas, was able to work with the Texas legislature to get that provision brought before the people of Texas as a constitutional amendment in 1984. And so that was reaffirmed by the people of Texas. So it's been that kind of leadership that has kept Prairie View afloat, in my opinion.
Okay. Now, in a lot of these across America, a lot of these locations where the colleges are, they consider them college towns. Basically, the local community is basically supported by the college. How does the University of Prairie View interact with the local and regional community?
Well, Prairie View is a dominant economic factor in this region. On this north or west corridor of US 290, Prairie View stands out as the major employer. It has roughly about $114 million economic impact just on Waller County alone. And the local towns of Waller and Hempstead and Prairie View all have benefited from the university. The one that has a ways to go and is currently engaged in working with the university more closely is the city of Prairie View. And it started off as roughly a bedroom community, and so now it's building up this retail base, but it had to first get its infrastructure in place so that it could welcome in retail and other light manufacturing concerns that would create jobs. Whereas the cities of Hempstead was laid out in 1858 as a railhead town and actually developed around retail, which was primarily based on the agricultural economy. So they imported in a lot of the retail businesses, whether they were saloons or general stores or blacksmiths or others, to that community. So it was a planned community, whereas Waller was also generated around the railhead when it came through from Cypress City. And that railroad was actually purchased with slave money from two major plantation owners. But Prairie View, when it was laid out, roughly a mile from the railroad, it was primarily a bedroom community, and people did not start moving off campus till the late 1940s. The rule was that if you were a faculty member at Prairie View, you had to live on campus. So the university was the central core of the community. You had a farming community around the university, primarily from farmers that had been there since Reconstruction, that moved off the plantations, and then there was another wave of farmers that came in the 1930s as part of the federal government's resettlement program. But those communities didn't really mix well until around 1969 when the city was incorporated. And when it was incorporated, it was primarily a bedroom community. So now Prairie View has started from scratch as a bedroom community, and is slowly ramping up to be a more of a retail, light manufacturing concern that can support the university. The university and the city have both come to realize that their destinies are mutual. And so if the community grows, the university grows. If the university grows, likewise the community grows.
Share with us some of the recent improvements that have been made to the university.
Well, I think Prairie View has been progressively moving forward for many decades, but the real growth spurt hit after the 1984 amendment was passed, and we started receiving a portion of the Permanent Universities Fund interest, which was what they call the AUF money. Once we started receiving that money, you start to see the campus landscape really change in a major way. And new buildings were added. Then there were also court cases that came down and which caused Texas to have to really look at the history of de jure segregation and discrimination against both Prairie View and Texas Southern. And eventually an agreement was reached during the administration of Governor George W. Bush, when he was governor. And actually, Prairie View received a settlement along with Texas Southern University to receive an additional $25 million each biennium. And they got several PhD programs and several master's programs and several buildings. So the most recent add-ons to Prairie View has been a School of Architecture facility where we teach, have a master's degree in architecture, a master's in community development, a master's in construction science. It is a wonderful state-of-the-art facility that has been an award-winning building by design. We have a new science building where we house the Brailsford College of Arts and Science. It's in the E.E.O. Banyan Science Building. And that building is a state-of-the-art facility. It houses our undergraduate medical academy. Has wonderful physics labs in there. It is a state-of-the-art facility. And our nursing students, our undergraduate medical academy students really benefit from the excellent facilities that are there. But we also have a new electrical engineering building. We offer a PhD now in electrical engineering. It is located where the former male dormitory Fuller Hall used to sit, and you may have lived in Fuller Hall when you was here. But Fuller Hall now is replaced with a new Roy G. Perry College of Engineering, Electrical Engineering building, and it is a wonderful state-of-the-art facility. We have a juvenile justice building